Stay moisturized. Stay inside and stay moisturized. Do you know what we're talking about today?
Yes, ironically, you're not wearing the right shirt for it. You've got a bat on, but we're not talking about bats today.
You're right, and I'm not gonna go change because I wore that shirt 2 days ago and it's...
Okay.
I sweated a lot in it. Today we're gonna talk about the chances of becoming Spider-Man.
Ah, yes!
What are your chances of becoming Spider-Man, Carlos? What do you think they are?
I think they're probably like 1 in 240,000.
I mean, I don't know the actual numbers, but I feel like that's close. It sounds close.
Statistically speaking, how many spider people are there in Marvel? You know, based on how many people there are in New York. You know, that's a ballpark number, right?
Right. It's like if you think about it, like the Wasp is kind of a bug person, but they wear a suit. The Ant-Man is his name.
Well, okay. Like, let's not go that far.
The Ant.
Enter the Spider-Verse. There's like 8
Right.
spider people in there. And there's like a bunch that didn't even show up. So
True. So
your odds are pretty good, I think.
odds of becoming Spider-Man, slim to none.
Don't crush my dreams yet.
Well, listen. Okay, so in 1962, when Spider-Man was created, as you know, we didn't know a lot about radiation.
No.
So as the years have gone by, we know more about radiation.
Yeah, it'll kill you.
And that's very true. The odds of you dying because of radiation are much higher than you becoming Spider-Man because of radiation. So yeah, so I was like, okay, obviously they're going to be 0% point whatever. But I had to Google it. What are the chances, what is the likelihood of being bitten by a radioactive spider?
Okay.
The amount of radiation in a spider bite is less than 0.000, there's 3 zeros, 3 units of radiation. So there's a 100% chance of you being bitten by a radioactive spider. But is the amount of radiation enough to make you Spider-Man?
No.
In fact, actually, the amount of radiation that would transfer from you to a from you to a spider to you, the transference between the two beings is about the same amount of radiation as you would get from eating a banana.
I understand a banana.
You're welcome. Potassium is actually a radioactive isotope.
Oh.
Just a little fun fact for you. What else do we have to know about becoming Spider-Man? Oh yes, how much radiation would it take to become Spider-Man? Or to get some sort of supernatural powers?
Okay, yeah.
Probably more than a spider bite, but also it's highly unlikely that even if there was a large amount of radiation in a spider bite, that you'd become Spider-Man, because in some comics, in some timelines or whatever, right? You know, sometimes he has like web shooters, sometimes he gets like webbing that comes out of his body somewhere. Right, produced out of his body in some way. And like the likelihood of your DNA being compatible with the spider's DNA is absolutely slim. Absolutely 0. I should mention we should probably just take out radioactivity like altogether. Because we've learned that radiation basically kills you. It has nothing to do with it. Has nothing to do with giving you powers at this point. It's just going to kill you. So we're just going to eliminate radiation altogether.
Okay.
And so we're just going to think about, if you got bitten by a spider, could you get some sort of powers?
Okay, alright.
And the answer is probably no,
unfortunately.
because you have to have compatible DNA, and some of that information, the spider bite has to transfer information to your system.
Okay.
And in order for that to happen, it has to be compatible. In order for it to read it and like turn it into some sort of like web shooter situation, it has to be able to read it, and it can't. So unfortunately, chances are still slim to none, unless you already have some sort of power that lets you read spider DNA. I don't know.
Okay, so you're rolling 2 dice essentially, right? 1, that your DNA is compatible with the spider.
Yes.
2nd, that the beneficial, cool spider genes involved with climbing walls and shooting webs.
Right, because you could end up with these results of what you get in Stargate Atlantis when they get bitten by bug-like creatures and DNA is transferred, and you just become like half bug aggressive beetle thing. So
then you become man-spider,
Yes. While we can't naturally produce spider webs like Tobey Maguire, or have like sticky hands naturally, they have invented something called gecko pads. And they are science made simple. Good old website, which I was like, I don't know if that's a credible source. But there's other sources that seem more credible that quote science made simple. Sure, right? There it goes with 24 tiles of synthetic adhesive that spreads the weight of load that it's pressed against or holding or whatever across them evenly.
Okay.
So it's able to carry like a lot of weight. If you just stuck your hand on the table, you'd probably be able to pick it up.
Sweet.
But yeah, so Science Made Simple describes their texture as sawtooth-shaped polymer structures that are the width of human hair. The pads are then attached to depressive strings that become less stiff as they are stretched, so you're able to pull your hand away from the wall as you climb. So you could potentially get grippy hands, and that's pretty cool. Manufactured, obviously. So instead of manufactured web shooters, you get manufactured hands.
Okay. And then you shoot the webs naturally, right?
Yes. So fun fact, NASA uses them, the Gecko pads, in their Jet Propulsion Lab on robotic arms on spacecrafts to attach, reattach, and reposition objects they pick up without causing harm to that object or robotic arm.
Okay.
So these kind of have a practical use outside of superheroism.
Sure.
Is that the right term?
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's that. The other thing is, if you wanted to artificially inject spider things into your body without having been bitten by a spider,
Okay, yeah.
you can.
Yeah?
You can inject yourself with spider-like characteristics, right?
Yeah, just
So
you can inject yourself with bleach.
yes, that's not the right way to say it. You can surgically implant spider glands.
Okay,
Spider
sweet.
glands? Silk glands. That's what.
Spider gland. Spider gland.
You can surgically inject silk glands into your body,
Alright.
but that's as far as you can really go. They haven't really found a way to recreate silk glands in humans as spiders use them. So
Okay.
there's no way to shoot them.
Just so like.
You just have them in your body.
Okay.
It's like useless.
Okay, I understand.
Yeah. I have a picture of the hope of the world.
Wow.
This is
That's a lot.
yeah.
And it isn't Spider-Man.
No, it's not Spider-Man.
Spider-Man is not the hope of the world.
This is going to be the our savior in the apocalypse.
Yeah, please. Enlighten me.
Meet your Lord and Savior.
I thought you were just saying me.
Yes.
I'm like, alright, sure, dude.
We're about to have a meat shortage, so this is going to be really relevant. But also, I'd like you to meet Spider Goat.
Okay.
No, I know this.
I've heard of this.
Okay.
I'm aware of this. So.
Okay, and I'll put a picture on screen for everybody else to see, but this is Spider Goat. Scientists have found a way to reproduce things like spider glands? Stop that. Silk glands. In goats. In a way that like they're able to produce synthetic silk in their milk. Which is really cool.
Right.
And I'm kind of mad that you already know about this because it's not as interesting anymore.
Well, I can help back this up.
Sure. But it's officially called BioSteel, made by a company in Montreal called Nexia Biotechnologies, and later on, like a lab in the University of Wyoming and Utah State University also started making this stuff. But the fibrous material is super strong and is reportedly 7 to 10 times as strong as steel when holding the same amount of weight, and it can stretch up to 20 times its original state without losing any ability to hold that weight. My next bullet point is, I'd say that has swing ability.
You might be touching on this already, but they're using it potentially to make Kevlar vests
Yes.
that are just as lightweight, but like several times stronger.
Right.
There's other potential uses here,
Mhm.
right? So, like, are we gonna see in the next, like Hitman game? So instead of like pulling out a steel Garrot, how you pronounce it? Garrot, right?
I don't even know.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
Where they take they take like the thin steel wire and like choke you out with it.
Oh! I never knew that had like an actual name.
Yeah, it's called the Garrot.
Okay.
So you know what? We might start seeing, goat spider web, Garrots, right?
Mhm.
Like potentially, and those would even be like even more lightweight and like portable potentially than like actual steel cable, right?
Interesting. That could come in handy for sure.
So we're gonna have this is the conclusion that we're reaching is that the Spider-Man, the Spider-Man we may be able to become is not, the web-swinging, brightly colored hero, but instead an assassin, that sneaks in with a Kevlar vest and they're, like spider, choking rope, basically.
AKA Spider Monkey from Homecoming.
I think it's worth adding too. This might totally be BS, so you can edit this out.
Alright. I'll put it in with a correction on screen.
You're gonna have to do your research on this, but the fact that it's coming from a goat, and which is several times larger than a spider, means that they can produce more of it per, goat, obviously, than an individual spider, right?
Interesting, you should say that, because they're actually working on breeding these goats to make more, because currently they can't make large amounts.
Okay, interesting.
And right now, a quote from Wikipedia, as of 2012, there are about 30 spider goats in a university-run farm in the U.S. Navy.
I'm sorry, that sentence. Would you rather fight one Spider-Man or 30 spider goats?
And the U.S. Navy has plans to turn the silk into a tool for stopping vessels by entangling their propellers.
Oh.
So they're already planning on military uses, you're right. If not for Kevlar vests replacements, but for other things.
Yeah.
But yeah, 30 spider goats are currently in population as of 2012. I don't know if it's 8 years later. They might be dead. I don't know the lifespan of spider goats. But yeah, so.
Sick.
They can't produce silk in large quantities, but they're working on it.
Okay, interesting.
Yes. That's all I got. This wasn't supposed to be a huge, well-researched video, so this is it. Do you have anything else to add?
Yeah, I want to give your audience a little bit of hope, because they might still be able to become, spider people. Because what you will notice is that, as the comics went along and radiation kind of fell out of favor as the source of all superpowers, it turned to genetic engineering, right?
Right.
And so in the Tobey Maguire movies and Ultimate Spider-Man, the comic book series, it switched from being a radioactive spider to being a genetically modified spider.
Right.
Obviously not as catchy in the theme song. You can't really say he's got genetically modified blood, but it's more plausible, right? And it's reflective of our times, right? Because now the whole thing is genetic engineering, as we just spoke with
radiation
with the goats.
Superpowers have been debunked.
And so what you were saying about the odds not being good, as far as all right, well, you need a spider that's compatible with your DNA, and you need for those genes to pass over. If we could hypothetically genetically engineer these spiders to have compatible DNA, well, we could potentially start to see spider people.
And how many transfers do you think it would take to figure that out? Because obviously monkeys and other mammals are closer to us than spiders will ever be.
Sure.
Naturally, but do you think they'd have to splice DNA slowly across animal kingdoms?
Yeah, you would have to get, as you just said, we're pretty close to monkeys, so you'd have to, give the monkey, the spider, DNA, and then you'd actually get the actual spider monkey.
But how close are monkeys to spiders? You have to splice it into pigs first, then to monkeys, then to humans.
Perfect. Yeah, so we're gonna get the whole extended Spider-Verse by then.
Yes.
Excellent.
I mean, this could very well be happening already. We don't know what the government's working on.
We don't know.
We don't know. No idea.
Just take a look overhead.
Take a look overhead.
All right. Peace out.